This is eXp Group Insights, hosted by Anthony Serafino, where global produce, innovation, and leadership connect to drive the future of supply and success.
All right, and welcome back to eXp Group Insights podcast. I'm your host from headquarters, Anthony Serafino, and a little bit of a hiatus, but it's so good to be back here in 2026, filming more content and delivering more exciting and enticing conversations with not only our team members, but industry professionals and various other individuals that can bring such a depth of knowledge into the conversation. So it's great to be back with you all. And more importantly, we have our brand new experiential coordinator here with us, Leslie Hernandez, visiting us from McAllen, Texas, our Texas location. And it's super exciting to have her at headquarters here in North Bergen, New Jersey. Leslie, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here today.
What do you think about the space?
Absolutely adore it. I think it's incredible. Very big fan of the communal space. I can right away tell that, culture is everything, bringing people together, and the team members here really have that space, to grow and to learn about each other. I have somebody offer me coffee every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
It's amazing just because, I grew up drinking coffee and that really brings my family together. So it translates to, the culture here in the company.
Well, I'm so glad you said that because coffee in this company and in our culture is something that's evident, right? And you mentioned that, and you grew up with coffee and so did I, right? So we kind of replicated that same open space. As a millennial, I feel that, and not just picking on millennials, but younger generations as well underneath millennials, but mainly when I pick at the generation that I'm part of, the kitchen is such a communal space that's not obviously congruent to a certain generation or not, but it's that particular space that allows the culture of the company to really shine through. And what better to do that with a coffee machine, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm glad Leslie is here at headquarters. We're going to be talking various different things at the company, how she's making it, new hires down on the pipeline. Leslie's technically part of the people team, but more importantly, it's about bringing the EXP image to life on the ground, on the show level, on the fair level, and really experiential and elevating that experiential department for us. And we've never really had a position like that. So when we first had the conversation, Les, and of course there's marketing as well that goes into that, but I felt we needed to have some pop and some juice live in person. And I think produce brings people together live and in person in the produce industry. Being a young professional in the industry, what do you think about being part of not only this company, but bringing our culture to life?
No, absolutely. First of all, I am very grateful for this opportunity. I know that when we met back in January and we were just having our discussion back and forth of what you pictured in mind for this position, I right away knew, okay, this is a place where I can grow as a professional, but also take ownership of the space and the department that I lead. And this truly inspired me to go after and accept it. And it has been the best decision of my life professionally. I'm really grateful. And then when it comes to being not only as a young professional in the industry, but also in this space. I've never worked in produce before, and it has
First time,
yes, ever in produce. Right away, the team very welcoming. I couldn't have done it without my Texas team. My first show was a month into my new role, and so
talk about trial by fire.
No, absolutely. I started off my first week doing as many tasks as possible to make sure that SCPC was amazing, and at least from what I heard from the team, it exceeded their expectations from the booth design to the produce that we had in display and the marketing that led to that big event. It's really taking on running from the very beginning, but thankfully to the support of the team, that was, possible. And so very exciting. Great industry, really fast paced.
Yeah, it is a fast pace. Can you elaborate a little bit about what makes it so fast paced?
Of course, the produce has a shorter lifespan than your regular aisle.
I have to interrupt you.
Yes,
you know what I always say about the produce industry is that our inventory doesn't get better with age. It's not wine. It actually gets worse.
Yes.
Wine gets better with age.
Oh, absolutely.
As we know, I love a great glass of wine. But produce does not have that same luxury as a great glass of wine does.
Exactly.
So really operating with that sense of urgency. And I always kind of say that here, that when you understand the two parallels between a great beverage and wine and what makes produce industry so interesting. It was so intriguing to hear you say that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. When it comes to the sales that our team does, so I support them a lot. And I think that it's a wonderful place to bring together because When it comes to the departments and when it comes to ensuring that the mission of the company is carried out throughout, I think what's most importantly is one, making sure that our culture highlights and stands out. And that's something you and I have talked about. Also reflecting our people and our team. So I personally like to get insights of, who your seller is, who your salesperson is, as getting to know them rather than this is just another person I reach out over the phone. Making it personal.
It's so interesting you say that because I have a strict vision of what I want for this organization and as we enter the next generation and what that is going to look like. But for me, the most important thing is bringing that image of what you want it to be in the next generation come to life, right? Our Texas team does such a fantastic job and really bringing the company image to life. We are making a transition into a new facility, which is going to be very exciting for them. We'll announce that in due course, maybe even do a remote podcast from that location. But I would argue, Leslie, that you have I don't want to say the most difficult jobs, but definitely one of the most important jobs at the organization is ground one. I don't want to say ground zero, but really first stage, a potential client or customer comes to your booth and that's what they see.
Absolutely.
They're seeing, EXP Group. I've heard a lot about this company. What does this organization do and what can they do for my organization? And bringing that to life is so important.
Oh, no, yes. When it comes to the booth design, and this is something that I'm very much grateful that you are as involved as you are.
I'm hands-on. I'm hands-on.
This is, their first maybe even time seeing EXP or learning about it. So what I have in mind every time that I create a booth is a welcoming environment and ensuring that our team members not only look presentable, but that we also have a congruent image of what we are. It's very easy for me to say, wear whatever you want, but when it comes to the uniform.
Please don't say that.
No, but I would never. But when it comes to, the image that we put together and making sure that even the tiniest details of how we embroider our shirts or the pin that we wear, I think it all represents the unity that we have as a company and the importance that it comes with building a brand, because this is essentially what we want. And I know we discussed your legacy before and building it for generations to come. And so very grateful to be part of that stage in the company as this continues to grow. But yes, when it comes to designing the booths, I mean, maybe this is their first impression ever of EXP Group, seeing it live in person.
Yeah. So. And Leslie, you mentioned it, right? Getting involved in when you did at the organization. I always say, EXP Group has only been around for 20 years. Mm-hmm. You look at a lot of these generational produce organizations, they are around for third, fourth, even fifth generation.
Wow.
Very long time, over 100 years. So I always tell people, you need to kick in the rear ends. We have to operate with a sense of urgency because a lot of these organizations have a head start. So when people look at the EXP image and what we're about and how we move with such ferocity, we move with that because I look around in competitors in the space, what our competition is doing. Leslie, they have a head start, right? So we need to deliver. Getting involved when you did at the age that you did, I think it's super imperative for employers to provide team members like Leslie and even team members in general to provide them the landscape and the ladder to grow in an organization.
Oh, no, I'm very, very grateful. And like I mentioned earlier, since my first start in the produce industry, completely new, right from the start, I've been receiving the support, not only from our company, but also from other members in the industry, people who have a similar role to mine in marketing or in events or coordinating the experiences. I think that welcoming environment really helped shaped the vision that I had, and it felt me feel more confident when it comes to the approach that I take.
How are those conversations? It's funny you mentioned that. How are those conversations been with some of your counterparts at other organizations doing events, doing experiential, even doing marketing for the organization, social? How are they going about things? Or what we doing here, is it pretty unique? I know we're kind of building up a platform from the ground up, but what are some of the trends that you're seeing in the industry?
So it depends with every industry, or more than anything with every company. I think that some could take a little more funny approach in how they do it, maybe going with the memes and the culture, the trends that are happening when it comes to the voice, truly what it is of the company. I like to keep it professional. I don't say that we don't have fun. We definitely could, but I think it's more important.
I agree with you, by the way.
Keeping it professional, just simply because it's a reflection of the work that we do and the great quality and the excellence in service that we provide. But when it comes to these conversations, I know a lot get excited when I talk about the podcast. It's something that a lot of other industries or produce industries companies don't do.
I think we're pretty unique in that.
Yes, absolutely. But for example, we're growing on TikTok. This is a new platform that we're starting and we're building off. And so that's something maybe that we're catching up on that end. But I know that we have been very active on Instagram, and it's one of our highest growing platforms in social media currently.
So TikTok.
Instagram.
Yes.
And we're doing TikTok. Don't you worry about that. We're pushing for that.
You know, I always hear people about TikTok. I'm not personally on TikTok, but I feel like I don't want to say we've missed it. We're behind. So it's a big growth for us. I always think Instagram to me, it's such a powerful medium because it's a multi-generational medium.
Yes.
I look at Facebook, and no disrespect to Facebook, it's kind of lost its step a little bit. And it's meta platform. So you have WhatsApp, you have Facebook, you have Instagram. So there's a lot of different other platforms. But Leslie, when I look at Instagram, it showcases a platform that spans across multi-generations. So when I see that, I go, wow, okay, I got Gen Z involved, maybe even Gen Alpha now. I have millennials. I mean, my mom, shout out to my mother. She's on Instagram. Gen X. So you're looking at multiple generations and you can reach a large palette of individuals. That's a big focus for us.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, as you mentioned earlier, I do TikTok is for a younger generation. And that's something that I feel that as we're building as young professionals, we could focus on our approach maybe and career tips for people who are interested in this industry. You know, how do you make it? How do you go about breaking into the produce industry? Or what have you learned along your career? I use TikTok a lot.
Yeah, you like it?
I personally am a big fan of TikTok, but also Instagram. I think it's
no disrespect to TikTok, by the way. I'm just saying I'm not on it, but I know it's a huge platform.
It's a huge platform, and I think that it just depends on, like you mentioned earlier, the users who are in there. It's a lot of younger generations, but Instagram does do a great thing of combining everybody and being that social platform where not only can you get reliable pictures and videos instantly, but also make connections. And that is the difference. We're also doing a lot of that on LinkedIn, which used to be only for connections and professional, development. But now people,
it's changing, Leslie.
It's changing. They're transforming it. Now you see influencers who are like on LinkedIn and they're promoting other products. And so I think as we continue to grow, being able to take that step and to showcase what we have been showing, posting similar content that we do on Instagram to LinkedIn has really gained a lot of traction in our followers.
I'll tell you this, Leslie, I love what we're doing on social media. I think it's no disrespect to what we've done in the past. We just never really allocated the resources to it. And I really wanted to allocate a ton of resource to it. There's a lot of other multinationals, I don't want to name them, that do a fantastic job on social media. And I look at that multinational and I'm thinking about it in my mind. I was like, how can we be like that company? Because they do a fantastic job. And I think there's so much we can do on the marketing front and social media fronts. And I'm looking at other produce companies and I'm seeing what they're doing. And you mentioned something earlier that I think is important to note. There's certain companies in the space or just companies in general that want to take a memesicle or really a laissez-faire per se approach. I think we can have fun. If you know anything about EXP Group, we have a lot of fun here. We do want to provide a corporate landscape and a corporate environment, but to have that mix of understanding where we are, what we're about, showcasing that in a fun but serious manner, I think is the best kind of medium and angle for us. And we do a great job with that. But I'm bringing up the greater point is, where can we grow further with marketing? Because you mentioned this, we're at our infancy, right? My envision for you, Leslie, is as we expand the organization and companies expand and the medium is expanding, how can you grow your team out? How can you add different people out? We're talking about the next generation, the youth. We're in the middle of building out our internship program here at EXP
I'm very
Group.
excited about that.
Super excited. I've been getting some resumes on that for college individuals. So if you're a college person listening to this podcast, please reach out to our people manager, Laura Blumberg. She's fantastic. And we're always looking for the next gen. And you know what, Leslie? I'll tell you this. What is the number one college, I would say, interest or applicant intern that we get at EXP Group so far has been marketing.
Oh, lovely.
So we're about to kind of assemble an intern squad for you.
Oh, that would be wonderful. Yes.
Which not only is great for personal development, because now at such a young age, you can come into an organization, quote unquote, sure, entry level, but you're now at that level managing people. I don't think many organizations can say at that type of level you can manage interns and whatnot. And assemble leadership qualities in an organization. And I think it's so important to do that.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that that is one thing that I see throughout this organization is the opportunities for leadership development that you provide. I think it's a wonderful space to grow. I'm very excited to welcome, my interns and just interns around the company. I mean, I did internships when I was back in college.
And how was that experience?
It was so beneficial. I had a regional internship for a large retail store, and I did the entire marketing for 45 stores in merchandising. So that was a great learning experience.
That's exciting.
Yes. And so
can you bring that expertise to us?
Oh, absolutely. When it comes to, the way that we design the floor show and the booth experience, I learned that from the way that they set up their stores and how customers, shop and what they look for and what stands out. So that experience allowed me really to translate into this current role. Previous to that, my other experience was more in policy or economics, but that marketing internship really did change. And then it also allowed me to learn a little bit about the produce industry since I did work with the department and several promotions that they had going on. So that was really fun. And, being back in this industry has definitely something.
There's so much more we want to do because I feel like we can do a better job for our sales team, how we can market that. It's not your fault at all. I just think there's so much we want to accomplish. And we have to be very directional about, no pun intended, the avenue and the direction that we're going. But more importantly, it's doing things at this company with intention. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I was like, we need someone into this role. It's about showcasing the intention for this organization. You mentioned about my leadership quality, and I appreciate that. But I think leaders, they never kick and scream and tell them to follow me, right? Good leaders don't do that. Good leaders lead by example. And absolutely. I think when you have an excellent leader and you see the way they carry that person, him or her, or how they carry about themselves, I think when you look at it and say, wow, that is a person, they are somebody that I could see myself replicating leadership-wise. And I think that kind of gets lost a little bit in our direction. And that's not in EXP's direction. I just think in professional development. And I think we're losing that a little bit. And I think it's an obligatory for leaders to not only set the next generation up for success, but also set the tangible direction of the company and the organization. And unfortunately, I'm not just picking on the produce industry, Leslie. I think there's a lot of other companies that don't do a good job of that. So when I look at this as a family organization, and I am biased, I do think family organizations are the best organizations to work for, because you see that it's not really about dollars. It is about dollars and cents because it's a business, right? Mm-hmm. We don't have to kind of beat around that bush a little bit, but we can talk about it head on that, yes, it is a for-profit organization, but there are things that we can do for profit that are about values, that are about legacy, that are about ethics, that are about doing the right thing. You know ethically if something is correct or incorrect.
Absolutely.
And there's something beautiful about food because food does not discriminate. Mm-hmm. And this is why I love what we do here, is because so many different generations and so many different ethnicities, people, economic classes, they all eat the same way.
Yes.
And I think we lose that, right? There's someone of an affluent position eats a banana. Someone in a less fortunate position also consumes that same commodity. So when you understand that the elasticity of that demographic and what we're doing here in the food business, it's so amazing. We're talking about these high asset, low obsolescence, these halo stocks and companies that other companies are really kind of showcasing what they are. Mm-hmm. But when I look at that and I say, wow, food is kind of that, right? It is not going to be taken over by AI and it's not going to feed us. It's we are going to operate as a company more efficiency with artificial intelligence, right?
Absolutely.
But how we get out there and reach people, maybe artificial intelligence helps us there. But Leslie Hernandez is still going to be behind the ones and twos per se and say, hey, this is the direction I think we should take to the company. And artificial intelligence isn't going to take that away.
Yeah, no. So a lot of people, when it comes to the discussions, because currently in my MBA program, we are using AI through, social media and what that looks like. And also,
and what does that look like?
So a lot of people are scared of it still to this day. They think that it will take their job away, but actually it's an easier way to maybe reach people. You create a chatbot or you create an automated message that comes instantly when somebody reaches your channel or your message or your DMs. You could create potential mock-ups of what your vision can look like and videos and pictures as well. I would highly encourage people just to try it. because
I agree, by the
whether we
way.
like it or not, it's here. And I think it's best if we learn how to use it to the best of our ability so that it can facilitate our job. Like you mentioned earlier, it won't take it away when it comes to this industry, particularly, or any industry that has to be built on relationships, on people. I think that's so, so important. And, AI cannot replace a connection like that. However, it can facilitate and take away maybe some pressure or teeny tiny tasks that our team is dealing with that could be done with AI.
I have three things to note on that. One, I think during the coronavirus pandemic, we learned it was a very tough time, but I think what we learned was the art of human connection is invaluable.
Oh, absolutely.
So IRL in real life, to me, is the most important thing. No disrespect to remote. I think remote serves its purpose. It adds flexibility. A flexible workplace is not going away. But something that I caution, I don't know if you see these offices that you're here, I personally designed them all.
Love them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I personally, and the reason why I do that is because I design spaces with intention. And I design them with intention for the exact reason that Leslie's talking about, right? It's really that human connection. And artificial intelligence is not going to take that away.
No, we can't.
So what it is going to do, though, it's going to help us in. First of all, you need to embrace it, but it's going to assist us and helps us to operate and do our jobs more efficiently. And doing it more efficiently will only help your workplace development, right? If I'm doing my job more efficiently, if I'm doing a better job in my workplace, that is only going to put me in a position to grow. That is going to put me in a position to scale. That's going to put me in a position to see a promotion, a raise, But more importantly, promotional development and really development in the workplace. And there's so much getting lost now. Yes, it's about bonus. Yes, it's about receiving a raise. But more importantly is just receiving money and a raise blindly without professional development, I think, is a big loss. And I think companies just don't do this well, and they don't develop talent well. And it goes back to artificial intelligence for me. And I think AI at this company is here. You mentioned something about a chatbot. Did you mention something about influencers earlier?
Yes, about LinkedIn influencers,
Okay,
how
so-
they're making that transition.
Okay, so I'm going into this. So shout out to my wife, Jordan. She does influencer marketing as well for Pernod
Oh,
Ricard.
that's amazing.
So she does a lot of this. She's actually going to be at Coachella for work. So she's
Wow.
doing all of that.
That's amazing.
She's flying to Palm Springs. She'll probably, when this comes out, she'll probably already be back. So shout out to Jordan. But
Safe trip.
Yeah. But my point is, what if there was an AI chatbot? Because how many DMs you mentioned does an influencer receive? Like an influencer, I guess there's micro influencers, there's so many different levels, and there's ranked on followers, But what if an influencer and all these brands that reach out to an influencer, what if there was an artificial intelligence chatbot that helps the influencer, helps the person that relies on picking on Instagram to make their career? What if artificial intelligence is there to make that influencer's inbox more efficient, summarize brands that they personally assimilate with towards the top? Right? What does that look like? What are the potential marketing opportunities for that particular individual that arises within their DM or their inbox, and it's a different level for me. For me, you want to communicate with me, send me a text, send me an email, right? It's different now with these influencers that are making their living on these social media platforms. Direct messages becomes a message tool for their communication. Can artificial intelligence help them with that,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. I think it definitely can even help us at our, our Instagram. We get a lot of requests. And
We do.
Yes, we do.
I couldn't even tell you.
No, you're good. So if we incorporate AI into the chat, it could help us say like, hey, this person is reaching out about a product, or this person is trying to sell you a service, or this person is trying to do this. Because if, we get so many requests. And so sometimes the message gets lost, and you could potentially maybe lose a client or lose
That's a good point.
lose something that, could be of value, whether it be growing a relationship or making a sale.
How many requests do you think as a company we're receiving? Estimate on a weekly basis.
Oh, goodness. At least 10.
At least
on
10?
Instagram alone. Yes. LinkedIn, a lot of them reach out about job opportunities. They definitely see it. And it has a lot to do with the Great Place to Work series that we're kicking off. And so that we have been, following along.
How great has that been, by the way?
It's been amazing. It has been doing amazing. And I think that's why we get a lot of interactions and a lot of traction towards our messages and our DMs. Just how can I work there? What do I need to do? What positions are available? Who is hiring, or where are you hiring? So it definitely has grown our presence a lot. And it has, I know EXP is already really well known, and it has only expanded tremendously on social media because of that series.
I will say this as well about people. we're always looking for good people.
Yes.
And I think a good company, your door is never closed, right? When someone like Leslie comes knocking on the door to bring that person in, you listen, right? And I think, remember, you have one mouth and two ears. And I always say that is because listening is the biggest attribute. Listening well, I should say, is the biggest attribute for any human being, right? If you listen better than what you speak, I think being heard and being listened to is super important. So if we can provide those attributes in the way that a company should provide that, and we just listen to those, Leslie, I think it'll be a much better place at this company. So great place to work. We can talk about that, and I can go on and on about that, but I'm trying to be very respectful of your busy time here this morning here at the podcast. But Leslie, quick thing, 3 things exciting. How's it been working here? Transition, starting your career at EXP Group has been super exciting. I know you've had some other opportunities before, but how's it been?
So first of all, right from the start, amazing team. Everybody's super welcoming, and they allowed me to just be like, hey, this is you know, the creative freedom that you bring to the team. This is what we have, a couple ideas. You execute how we carry them out. I, of course, appreciate the feedback from the team and the support. And so I always like to test it out with them first and see, hey, what do you think of this? And receive their feedback, because at the end of the day, yes, I could be the one posting on social media, but it represents us as a company as a whole. And so I think it's so important that it resonates, and the message that we're pushing out represents everybody in the company, not only what I think, but rather what we as a collective, as a community, think here at EXP Group.
It's well said.
Thank you. But that is my overall voice for the social medias that we run. In regards to how it has been, amazing.
Yeah.
It has been so great. I mean, from the team to the travels to the people that I meet in, you know, these new spaces. I could tell you at first I was intimidated at my first conference. It was an overwhelming room of energy, and everybody's just networking and talking.
Wait until you see Viva Fresh.
Trust me, I am excited for Viva Fresh, and they have told me to mentally prepare for IFPA. So
yeah, that's it. I don't want to go down that yet with you, but there's so much fun when you're on the ground level and you experience that energy. There's nothing like being in the produce industry, and there's more importantly, there's nothing like being part of an organization that really you feel that you're part of something bigger. Yes. And that's what we're trying to provide here. And Leslie's done a fantastic job at this company, providing that vision, marketing, growth. We're always looking for great people, whether it's marketing, whether it's social channels, whether it's experiential. Bringing what we do here at this company to life is our biggest asset, right? We talked about great place to work. Why did I really want to do great place to work at this organization? Is because I wanted to showcase, no pun intended, why it is a pretty damn good place to work.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, when you're in a tunnel, right, you only just see what's around you. But on the outside looking in, I've always received the feedback, wow, that's people telling me, wow, that's a great company. Your culture, your company, your character, common sense, creativity, all that, what you do at your company is fantastic. Why don't you showcase it more? And I thought, what better to do that than great place to work? And seeing all the positive feedback that we're getting. If you're listening, we're always looking for great people. Leslie's team is amazing. The technology team is incredible. Sales, management, logistics, warehousing, traceability, people, you name it. EXP Group is always looking for great people. Leslie with us, Leslie Hernandez, coming in from McAllen, Texas, on the EXP Group Insight podcast. Leslie, again, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you. It has been a pleasure. I had a lot of fun here.
So much fun. Leslie here at HQ. We'll be back with some other content for you. We're going to be providing it. EXP Group Insights podcast, established in 2025, and it's 2026, and we're keep the train on going. Take care.